So let's get into Cogsworth, Grandfather Clock, 5 inkable, 2/5, 2 lore, shift 3, ward, unwind, your other characters gain resist 1. Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, if Cogsworth, the character, was a princess, this would be the chase rare in the set and not Alice.
Just like put a little tiara on him and that's it. Put the princess right next to Floodborn.
I mean, just look at how strong this thing is. Like, it's got ward, which is for cards like this that just have a static effect on the board. Like, having ward is just so crackerjack. It's just insane. Especially pair it with 5 willpower. It means that this thing is like immune to all of the all the damage based removal spell. Like, it's going to take at least 2 cards, probably more, to deal with it if it's just not turned sideways. And resist 1 is like an incredibly annoying effect for the best color in the game currently, tied with Amber. Steel is Amber's best friend. I mean, just like,
so you're just saying that deck existed on top because it was just meta. It was just too many meta cards in there, too many format defining cards in there.
I mean, and they just played really well together. You know, the Amber gives you the ability to sing all Steel's Broken 5 mana songs for free. So it's just like, oh well, maybe I'll put this Ariel together with this whole new world, and then like the Galaxy Brain meme happens. So, but yeah, I mean, like, again, and like once again, 5 ink. You shift this for 3. It costs 5. So, do you happen to have a whole new world in your deck or whatever? Well, then when the coast is clear, Cogsworth will be happy to sing that song for you.
And also, it does have ward, so it's just annoying to deal with.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how you beat ward, and the small Cogsworth, the talking clock, isn't bad.
Yeah, 2 ink for a 2/3/1 lore. Wait a minute, your characters with Reckless gain tap, gain 1 lore. So I just want to say this is the card that makes Felicia playable. Without this card,
the card that makes Felicia playable is Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
No, but what I actually want to say is, in some decks in the first set, like a vanilla 2 ink 2/3/1 lore was like a decent stat line. Yeah. So there's that all upside. Like, it has an ability that is not irrelevant. Like, this will at some point allow Felicia and Gaston, and maybe even sometimes Maui, to get in there for additional like lore where they might be useless otherwise.
It's free.
It means your opponent cannot just sit back and ignore your relentless characters by keeping their guys untapped until they're ready to one-shot you, because now all of a sudden they have an ability and you can do something with them. And then also, this upgrades into a much cooler and better Cogsworth. I think both Cogsworth unbeatable.
Yeah, it just remains to be seen whether the creature-based Sapphire decks are good, or the character-based Sapphire decks are good or not. I think I've been through this whole process. I was very low on the Cogsworth, but thinking about with the set out, I think that there's a home somewhere. I just don't know what that home should be, and pretty unbeatable. I just want to talk about Cruella for a second, because when we were talking about 2 mana 2/3s, I think that the next stat line for the next set that is very important is 2 mana 3/2s. That's all I wanted to talk about.
Also, we'll get into it slightly more later, but I think evasive on attacks is like not a bad thing to be having.
Yeah. In fact, we're gonna talk about that now. How about the sardine can? Thanks, rescuers. 4 inkable item. Flight cabin. Your exerted characters gain ward. This card, I've played with this card already. In control mirrors, it's just like unbeatable, because you just can't target your opponents. If you have 1 turn to target your opponent's characters, and if you miss that opportunity by just not having the card in your hand, you never target them again.
Yeah, this card makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills, because I am seeing nobody talk about this card. I don't know if all the best players like know that it's cracked and want to try to keep it a secret, or if people just like haven't actually put 2 and 2 together. But like, it doesn't seem, especially because blue happens to be the color of ramp, doesn't seem super out of the realm of possibility for your opponent to have a sardine can and a Mickey Brave Little Tailor in play. And like, how are you beating that?
No, that's the reason why. I think the reason why it's not being talked about is because this is a hard card to evaluate. It's just, if you've never played card games before and you don't know what kind of things just aren't acceptable to be printing, this is the kind of card that toes that line, because giving all of your characters the ability ward is very powerful, even if it's only situational ward when they're exerted.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay. So first of all, the only reckless character that's really seeing play in high enough numbers where you have to be like poo poo in your pampers over them, at least currently, like coming out of the first set, is Maui. And
Yeah.
it's just like aside from that, it's just like there's not really a ton of stuff that can just profitably bang into a lot of characters to begin with. Now, granted, like there was Rafiki and there was Zeus, and now Mem takes the place of Rafiki, hopefully forever. But there's not like a ton of just like super efficient and highly played like rush characters. So
Yeah.
you're if your guys are sideways and they're not playing rush characters in their deck and they do have removal spells, they're just kind of like, if you have any board control on your side to mitigate the fact that your guys can just be attacked into, what are they going to do? I don't know, man. It seems like it's going to be really easy for somebody to figure out that Sardine Can is broken in a particular list.
Well, we figured it out. So
Well, I don't think we've cracked the list. I mean, I do
yeah, I have
think
some
that
theories.
Sardine Can is really good. I mean, I don't understand why more people aren't talking about it. I feel like people might just like dismiss. I don't even think they're not putting it together. I think they're just like, oh yeah, Ward probably pairs well with some evasive characters. But who cares?
Yeah,
And it's just
but
like, and it's like, but also in most decks, against non-steel decks, what happens if they go like 3 mana, the new Minnie Mouse, the 1/3 evasive that taps for 2 lore, and then on their next turn they play Sardine Can and quest with her.
yeah, you have to deal with the.
What are you
1/3.
doing? Like if you're not playing steel, like what are you doing? Like are you what removal spell are you using on that?
Even if
The
you are
1/3.
playing steel, that's a hard order. That's 2 swords.
Yeah, or swords in a tank. I mean,
No, you have ward, sir.
no, but tanks enter the battlefield ability.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's the combo to deal with characters with 3
Yeah.
toughness. Is
Yeah,
that
so
they
you have
just
to you have to
those.
shift in a tank, and if they're shifting in a tank to kill your Minnie Mouse, that's a good if they shift in a tank and use a swords just to kill a 1/3, that's a good exchange for you.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think Sardine
Yeah.
Can I think Sardine Can's very good, and I think we're both on the same wavelength,
Oh, yeah.
and we're both going to call this one Unbeatable.
Oh, it is absurdly unbeatable, and the fact that it's a land too means you just get to play it for free. Like, if I
Yeah,
just-
again, apparently this card wasn't good enough, so if you're in a spot where it's not what you want to be playing, go ahead and just slam that one into your ink.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to talk about Sardine Can first is because we're going to talk about the Hopsicle engine, which was coined by Leonard Bass. It was coined by Leonard Bass like 30 minutes ago.
I actually called it that yesterday, and nobody noticed, but yes.
Okay, so a day and 30 minutes ago. There we go. Hot off the presses. We got some new naming conventions. Let's go. So let's talk about the Popsicle. It's a 1 inkable item. Jumbo Pop. When you play this card, you may draw a card. That's Redwood. Banish this card. Remove up to 2 damage from chosen character. So I've been playing with this card.
This card's just a good rate, right?
Yeah. It's like the fact that it removes up to 2 damage is actually very relevant in Sapphire Ruby because your Maui will like kill a 3 power guy and then you'll just have a Maui with 1 damage on it. And you spent your first turn drawing a card, so like it's just like it's free value.
Yeah, I mean this is so it only costs 1 ink to play. You can ink it itself, so it's never a dead draw, provided you need to make your ink drop for the turn. It's also never a dead draw because if you don't need it as your ink, you just play it and it replaces itself for the low cost of 1 ink. And in addition to all of that, it's got a relevant type item. The Sapphire decks love items. I mean, you can't get enough items. And then on top of all, that would probably just have been playable. But the fact that it's got this weird healing ability is just, I mean, man, what a card. And then on top of all of that, there's a reason we're calling it the Hopsicle, because Popsicle combos with Judy Hop's Optimistic Officer.
Judy Hop's Optimistic Officer. 3 inkable, 2/3, 2 lore. Don't call me cute. When you play this character, you may banish chosen item. Its player draws a card. You can choose your own stuff.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people the first time reading this would just be like, oh, it's a weak item removal spell for Sapphire. How cute. But it's better than that because it can target your good stuff, which, a lot of the times would not be super great. Not the most ideal, but sometimes you're going to be cashing in something that's, if you're targeting your own thing, it's obviously not doing what it needs to for you anymore. But the most important thing is that it can just target Popsicle, baby.
Yeah, yeah, and that's an additional card advantage. So basically, like the floor on this card is basically a Maleficent 3 that's a 2/3, 2 lore. And having 2 lore on your card draw, or your card advantage 3 drop is really powerful.
Yeah,
And
the two really is the kicker.
yeah, and also in control mirrors, you can just banish their mirrors, like or their spell books, what have you. Like they can draw a card, that's fine. But the fact that it does all this is like this card's unbeatable.
Yeah, it's definitely unbeatable. Like, and the fact that you were in control of where you were targeting this, and it's a May. You don't have to do any of that. You can just play this as a 3-drop, 2/3, 2 ink play. I mean, the flexibility on it is through the roof. It's all the stuff we said about Yzma, but for items. Unbeatable. Yeah. Judy Hopps, the Hopsicle engine. Look forward to seeing a lot of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like item removal is very relevant now because of Sardine Can, and it just does it for free.